The world is a mysterious place. Think about the ocean, the amount of wildlife that exists deep in the sea. I mean, do we know what's really there? I'm fascinated by the possibility of life on other planets. The universe is always expanding. There are billions of stars. There has to be something more. And then there's the biggest mystery of all, and it's this. What is Chick-fil-A putting in their chicken sandwiches? Of all of the fast food restaurants that I pass when I'm driving, there is always a line at Chick-fil-A. And it's not just one line, both drive-through lanes are bumper to bumper, no matter the time of day or night. There are even people camping out on Sunday to be the first one to get food once Monday rolls around. People get so excited to go to Chick-fil-A, right? They lose their minds. Don't get me wrong, they make a fine sandwich, but I don't flip my lid over it. People go nuts for Chick-fil-A. What are they putting in the sandwich? I have a hard time believing the secret sauce is a pickle slice. I mean, that's a nice touch, but come on. Is it the foil-lined packaging? The adorable cow mascot? No, there's something more nefarious going on. There must be some ingredient in that sandwich that goes straight to our addiction center in our brain and hooks us. There is no other fast food that does this to people except maybe the McRib. I'd like to see the McRib challenge the Chick-fil-A sandwich in a cage match. Oh, who are we kidding? McRib wouldn't stand a McChance. Now, if the McRib adds a pickle slice, then maybe that would be a McGame changer. It's worth thinking about.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Podfulness. Let's get started.
We have got a lot of interview to get to today, so I'm just going to jump right in. Let me tell you who our guest is, first of all. Her name is Lindsay Yaggi. Lindsay and I have known each other for a long time. We go way back. She is one of the sweetest people you ever meet. She's one of these people where initially you meet her and you don't think it's real, and then you realize it's real, and then you're kind of pissed because you kind of want to be more like that. She's effervescent. She is jovial. She is considerate. She's empathetic. She is all the things that you want in a friend. And she's coming to you right now to talk about one of her favorite podcasts. So let's not drag this out any further. Let's get to it. Yaggi or Yaggi? That is the question of the day.
Yaggi, like yay.
It's Yaggi. I think I've been saying
Yaggi.
Yaggi all of this time. You don't even correct people, do you?
No, because, my maiden name is Smith, and so that was never butchered.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of fun. I'm like, oh, this is cool. People say it different ways. So
No one, did anyone ever spell Smith incorrectly? No,
I
right?
don't think anyone ever spelled it incorrectly.
No.
I could have gotten a Smythe in there or something like that, but
Yeah, the extra E. So, Lindsay, you are coming to us live from your car. Tell us why that is.
it's just a quiet place that I could find this morning.
Is this your first time as a guest on a podcast?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, how's
is.
it going so far?
I feel great. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying it because I've listened to so many podcasts, and I think I understand when people say I'm a little nervous, or what, how does this go? But you make it really easy for your guests. I
I'm
listen.
assuming people say they're nervous because they know they're going out to hundreds of thousands of people, potentially. Like, really, it's just maybe your parents that are listening to this, maybe your husband, Michael, and that's about it.
No,
Yeah, it's okay.
but one day though,
One
it could
day.
be millions. I mean, so they might go back to like the first, 50 of your Podfulness episodes and re-listen and be like, wow, guess number, let's listen to that.
Yeah, right.
Guess
Let's
number
listen to
10,
let's listen to
right?
Yaggi.
Yaggi.
She was great. So, Lindsay, you are an Indianapolis native, right?
Yes,
Have you ever lived anywhere else?
I have. Yes. Let's see. In college, I had the opportunity to study abroad in Australia. And so for a semester and then a few extra months, I traveled around and lived in Wollongong. It's about an hour south of Sydney.
Okay.
I picked it because it was near the coast and I wanted to surf, and
Oh,
that's why I picked it.
and were you able to surf? What's the surfing like in Australia?
It's wonderful, and yes, I was able to surf. That was, like, the first thing I did was I just bought a surfboard, and I didn't know what I was doing back then, so I bought a short surfboard, which is, like, better for more advanced surfers and tricks and stuff, and so
Mhm.
I did not have very much success getting up on this board, but it was just fun. It was fun to get out there and be in the waves and just float around, and even if I didn't stand up even one time that day, I would be happy just to be out there.
Now hold on. You went there to study abroad,
Yes.
and the first thing you did was buy a surfboard. What sort
Yeah.
of studying were you doing?
I mean, I did. I took, I was at IU, I was studying, I am a speech therapist, so I was studying speech and language pathology stuff, but
Mhm.
they didn't have any of that in Australia, so I just kind of studied a lot of electives over there, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
and it was fine. So it kind of bumped me back a semester with my graduation, you know,
Yeah, but you got to go to
something,
Australia. You were
but
probably fine
hey,
with that.
yeah, I was fine with that. So it was, yeah, no, I mean, I did study when I could.
Did you pick up the accent? Were you able to, imitate the Australian accent with ease?
It was no, I'm not very good. It's funny because 'cause I'm a speech, language, communication therapist, but I kind of, like, study speech, but I'm really bad at picking up accents. Like, I don't it w I had a roommate, and her accent was so thick, like,
Uh-huh.
just very prominent, and I it took me a really long time to understand her. I almost felt bad at times. I was like, "Can you say that again?" And, I mean, she just, it was
And it was an
and then
Australian accent?
but it was, like, from a more rural area of Australia, and so it wasn't like the city accent that we all hear on TV. It
Right,
was oh, right.
right. I hear you.
I
It's a hard one to
yes,
do.
you're good. That's
Sure.
great.
Yeah, did she struggle with your accent?
No,
No, right.
I don't feel like people ever do.
No,
The
it's
standard
boring.
American Indiana, no,
That's all right.
she was okay with it.
So if you were a surfer, that tells me that you're relatively athletic, right? Didn't you tell me once you played ultimate frisbee in college?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Were you on
Yes.
a team or was it just a rec league?
No, a team for, Indiana University. They're called Calamity Janes,
Okay. Excellent
and
name.
that's the women's team, and then the men's team is called Hoosier Mamas,
Of course.
and of course, yes, and so and then, so that I started on the club team for IU, and then, um, after I graduated, you can be on co-ed teams, so I was on co-ed travel teams and that kind of thing.
Well, that's fun. Did you travel
Yeah.
out of state or did it stay pretty much inside of the Indiana border?
No, we traveled out of state and, and in state, but all kinds of places. It was really fun, and then I, played also when I lived in, Oregon and I lived in Hawaii. I guess back to that question,
Yeah.
where else have I lived? So I played ultimate frisbee was kind of that, connection that I made. You played ultimate and then you had just instant friends because
Yeah.
you could move to a town and everybody has ultimate in their town, and so you find your fast friends and just it's great.
You know, that's the thing about sports. I was on a flight recently and I was sitting next to someone on the Georgetown women's basketball team. And we were chatting, and I just said, "What was it like your adjustment to college?" And she was a sophomore. She said, "Last year, I was very fortunate because I had friends at my disposal because of basketball." Right? You
Yeah.
meet people, you have similar hobbies, you're doing things with them without your phone. And she said, but she has a lot of friends that have struggled because today it's really hard to communicate and have deep relationships because people are on their phones all the time. So I could
Mm,
see where being on that sports team, you have those built-in friendships right away.
absolutely. Yes.
Now, are you
Yes.
still involved with sports other than cheering on your children at their sporting events? Are you still staying physically active?
Well, I was playing ultimate even after I had Ashton and Tyler, and I was playing. I just but then I had a knee injury, and so I had to have
Mm,
surgery, and that kinda took me out. I tried to come back. I had a little comeback, but it was just not the same game anymore, and
yeah.
so I just stopped. I kinda retired from ultimate frisbee, and, now I do yoga. Um,
Okay.
it is like a sport to me, like, not a sport, I
Oh,
don't
it
know what to
is
say, like,
completely.
it is. I do feel like it's not like that kind of sport that you're doing with other people or a team sport, but it's just what I enjoy focusing on if when I have that free time to, that hour to myself to be on my mat, and it's just such a neat combination of using or, like, having your body do the work, but your mind is doing the work, and it's
Hmm.
a sense of, like, meditation with it, and so it's just such a neat combination, and I just really enjoy it.
I need help with my downward dog. I was into yoga for a while. I could not master that simple pose. Is there
Oh,
a trick to it?
um, no, I don't think there's any tricks. I think you just have to, you know, get
Calves are too
comfortable with
tight.
being there. Yeah. I mean, if you're tight, then just the solution is just do it more.
Okay.
Just keep doing it
And you like
because
doing
you'll
yoga with people though, right? Like when you do the videos, it doesn't feel as communal. I like
right.
having someone watching me because I want to make sure the teacher knows that I'm trying. I want to be able to get it right. And when it's a video, you're like peeking away. You're like, oh, this one's too hard. I'm gonna stop doing it. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's funny. I do like being in the room. It is a nice feeling. You just feel everybody's positive energy and, they came there too to be on their mats for they're carving out that time of their day and, it's a special time. And a lot of times though, Mark, I'm doing yoga with my eyes closed and I really try I'm not looking I don't want to look around maybe for inspiration, but not for, I'm like, okay. I mean, I can just feel everybody's there. Yeah.
Have you ever done yoga with animals in the room? Like, was that goat yoga?
Goat yoga. No, I have not. I do I'm curious, but no, I've never done that.
I
Even
feel
there
like
was
I'd start giggling.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
We took a trip and there was flamingo yoga being offered. Like the flamingos would be walking around while you're doing yoga, and I was kind of interested, but I didn't do it.
Oh my gosh. That sounds ridiculous, but fun.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
you are so real quick, you're married, you have 3 sons. I
Yes.
know you do a lot with your family, very dedicated mom and wife. You also love going to concerts. So when was the last time all of
Oh.
you went to a concert?
Oh, that's a really good wow, all of us? Like
Yeah,
even
or
my
has that even
parents?
happened yet?
No, I would say we have this wonderful venue here in Indianapolis, and I'm sure you've been. But it's Connor Prairie is the area, but it's Symphony on the Prairie.
Mhm.
They have in the summertime, they just have it's just an outdoor venue and they have themes a lot of times. So it is like symphony style, but sometimes it's bands and we went to one. It was on my mom and I share a birthday. We
Okay.
share July 9th as our birthday, and so the whole family went, and, we went to there's a name for it, but it was, like, Billy Joel and Elton John, like, 2, um, musicians who impersonate them, but they were, like I don't know if you've ever been to this one. You
No.
should go, but they were phenomenal. They are, like I really thought I was watching Elton John and Billy Joel.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing. It was amazing, but that was a fun thing to do as a family.
Yeah. You sent me an email before we did this podcast, and you said that you haven't decided if it's out of your comfort zone or not, but it's always good to get a little uncomfortable. That means you're growing. And then in parentheses, you said, this is exactly the thing that would be discussed on the podcast I like, right?
Yes,
Being
exactly.
uncomfortable. So we are going to
Yeah.
talk about Glennon Doyle and her podcast, which is called,
We can do hard things.
that's right. And we'll do that right after this break.
Podfulness.
I'd like to pretend it's not happening, but it is. I'm losing hair. The top is getting thinner, it grows slower, and it's rough. Some of my friends have gone completely bald. Some have a significant patch missing on top. So, what can we do about it? Men, I'm here to share some good news with you. The cure for male pattern baldness doesn't come in a bottle, it's not a drink, and there's no surgery. It's proven to work, and no one can tell that you've lost hair or in the process of losing hair. It's called a hat. It can be a straw hat, cowboy hat, biking helmet, or the classic baseball cap. Wear it to dinner. Wear it when you work out. Wear it when you travel. As long as you have a hat on, you'll have the head of hair you've always dreamed of. Hats, available everywhere men shop. And now, back to the show. Yeah, let's talk about Glennon. So, We Can Do Hard Things is hosted by Glennon Doyle, but also her sister and her
Correct.
wife. So, tell me about the whole
Yes.
relationships
Yeah.
there.
It's a great like trio and of relationships because you do have this sister relationship and Amanda is they call her sister
Yep.
and I think Glennon's called her sister like forever her whole life. And so you listened to an episode of and Amanda was the one who was like talking the most or it was about her.
Yep.
And so they do that sometimes too. They have on guests or they talk or it's kind of focused on one of them more so or a relationship between the two. And then so Glennon also has her wife on, Abbywambach, who is they all are like kind of known and Glennon wrote a book called Untamed. That was, I guess, her most popular achievement. She's also written other books. So she's a writer and and then her wife, Abby, is a like badass, like soccer player,
That's right.
with FIFA and she's awesome. And then Amanda is, I think she was like a lawyer and she was and she
Human
directs
rights and
yes, yeah. So they're all these like intelligent, awesome women but I love their dynamic with each other, how they're all related, and then just the way that they communicate to each other. I feel like I'm a friend of theirs. Like I laugh with them and they're laughing and um
yeah.
it's just a good feel.
So they all made their mark on the world before they met each other, right? So it's
Yes.
not like Glennon was riding Abby's coattails or anything like that. She was established and so was Abby. And so, right.
Correct.
So how
Yes.
did you find out about this podcast? Did it just appear in your feed or did someone recommend it to you?
Probably somebody recommended it to me. I mean, I have those friends who we all like I'll just send a podcast to them, something that I liked, and then a friend will send me something they liked. And it was kind of like your wife, Sarah, sent me about your podcast. So I
Aha,
found
that's
out
right.
about you. So it's usually through friends. And then I listen to one and I'm like, oh, I like that. And so then it just snowballed into, I have not listened to every single episode they've ever had, but I have listened to a lot. And I just really, I gravitate towards it.
So how does the show work? I mean, is it just them just talking about their life all the time and you hear their coffee cups clinking and you know?
um yeah, they're just they have a topic or they have a guest and they are all there. And so, again, like maybe someone is talking more than the other person and Glennon is usually the one who's she's the host.
Yeah.
So like let's say there's a topic and they are going to talk about, relationships or the relationship with yourself or the relationship with other people or, you know, the self journeys or, the community or just there's so many topics. They just
Mhm.
kind of dive deep. They dive deep into them, but they make it fun. They laugh, they cuss, they're just they're you just you really feel like you're just sitting there with your friends but you're going pretty you can go really deep but not I don't want people to like be like ugh a deep podcast that's the last thing I want to listen to because they don't make it it's just it makes you feel like you're learning you're growing you're becoming like you're taking things away from each podcast like yes I want to incorporate that into my life
Yeah.
or oh yes I didn't even think about it that way it's very Yeah.
I will give them credit because on the episode I listened to, they all sounded very present, right? Glennon didn't
Yes.
sound like she was just asking a question, waiting for the answer, and then she had another question she was going to move on to.
Right.
So yeah, it feels very present and authentic. Something I found
Yes.
very funny was that whenever one of them would make some sort of a point or something deep and meaningful, the other two in unison would go,
Uh,
mm,
You
as
know
if they
what?
just had cheesecake or something. Mm,
I've noticed that, of course, like, right away, and I love that. I don't know, it's just like you are acknowledging what the other
of
person has
course.
said, and it's just like, "Yes, I
Mm.
hear." Yeah. Cheesecake.
That's my favorite part.
That's one of my favorite parts too.
So have you
Never
read
fails.
Glennon's book or books?
I feel like I know maybe a lot about it because of just this podcast or other podcasts that I've listened to with her being interviewed. But it's on my list to read, and I really want to, but I'm going to admit that I am not, like, the fastest reader in the world, and I wish I was. Like, I don't gobble down books the way that some people do, and so, like, I think that's why I like podcasts so much
Yeah,
because I can listen and then get a lot out of it, maybe like a book, but,
I do. I have a Civil War book that was recommended to me probably 20 years ago, and it's sitting right by my bed. I'll get to it eventually.
oh, my so does Mike. Is it the which one is it?
Is it Killing Angels?
No, he has, like, War and Peace, or I don't
Oh
he's
my
got
gosh. Yeah, forget that. Good grief. How do they keep it fresh? Because if it's typically the three of them talking about different subjects, do they ever bring on a guest that's an expert in a certain field that they want to talk about?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
They
good.
do. They do. They bring on guests all the time. And they have, like, because they are, they all have their achievements in their own life, and they have a lot of connections out there, or people know of them. People get really excited to be guests on their show. And so, like, Kamala Harris was a guest on their show, or Jane Fonda,
Hmm.
Reese Witherspoon, you know, Gina Davis. You just get like, and then, but there's also like those, famous people that we all know, but then also they might have like, they read a book and it's very inspiring to them. And so they would bring on the author of that book. And so that's kind of been fun for me because I don't necessarily know them. And then I'm like, yeah, oh, I want to know this person even more. So, or know their work more. Like, they had on Dr. Becky Kennedy. She's known as like Dr. Becky, and she has written Good Inside. And she's like, children whisperer. She's just like
Uh-huh.
the guru of kids, or like, no, parenting.
Right.
She's amazing, but she like does it in a way that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I've been doing this wrong." But
Right.
she's amazing.
So the episode I listened to, How to Face Your Biggest Fear, that's obviously something that men, women, children all relate to. But the episode, is it always through the lens of a woman?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so, although
I mean, don't get me wrong, I still got
yeah,
something out of it.
yeah, for sure. Trying to think about this. I don't think I've ever listened to an episode where they've had a man on as a guest. Um, Sister is married, and so she would bring in her, like, the lens of, what she would think from her husband. And Glennon was married to a man,
Okay.
and now she's married to Abby, so there's that dynamic. And so it's really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? It's okay. If it's all women, that doesn't mean that it's anti-men. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy when people say things like, "Oh, it's an all women show and the only women guess they're anti-man." It's like, "No, it's not. It's
Right,
not at
correct.
all."
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just silly. So, I noticed though that, Amanda, at least with the episode I listened to, she was kind of boy crazy.
Oh, then I think I have listened to that episode too.
Oh my gosh, she was talking about
Yes.
all of her different boyfriends and she would travel around the world and it would always be, "Oh, that's where I met Kieran," or "That's where I met so and so." It's like, "What's going on?"
I listened to that episode too. Yeah, I didn't know that about her, and I was like, "Wow." And she, like, had this, like, it was funny how Glennon had described her. Like she was just kind of like magnetic, just guys would be like, 'cause she was their sisters. And so she would just see, she just had this energy that she put out, or that she didn't even put it out, like not knowing or not knowing.
Right.
And just, it was, and so that's funny because they talked about that. Yes, I did listen to that episode.
In a nutshell, how would you describe the show, and what sort of person would get the most out of listening to this?
In a nutshell, I feel like this show it's inspiring. It has, you feel like you are a sense of a community. They even call their listeners the Pod Squad.
Uh-huh.
You're friends with them already, and it just, you just feel like it will it enlightens you. You take something on every time you listen, and you grow and you learn and you laugh and you know
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about podcasts, Lindsay, is that you have choice. Whereas if you listen to a news station, it's always going to make you feel bad, right? It's always, if it bleeds, it leads, right? It's always going to be bad news. And with podcasts, you get to choose what you want to listen to. And if you want something positive and inspiring and uplifting, then you've got those podcasts like the one you love here with Glennon Doyle.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Hopefully people will check it out. And that's available everywhere. Podcasts are available, right? They don't have an exclusive relationship with a certain provider, do they?
No.
Okay, good.
Nope.
Well, Lindsay, we established earlier that you are a mom, that you're sitting in your car right now because who knows how crazy it could be getting inside the house. So we're going to play a game, okay, that has to do
Okay.
with motherhood. Now, do you consider
Oh boy.
yourself a good mom?
Too.
Good.
Yeah.
And are your kids important to you?
Of course.
Yes. And do your kids come to you for advice?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Okay. So moms are great with advice on all subjects.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put your advice to the test with a game that I'm calling Mama Knows Best.
Podfulness.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm good at this.
Oh, you're going to be great. I asked my mom for advice on 5 important subjects that face teenage boys.
Okay.
I recorded her answers.
Oh.
And so we're going to see how your
love
advice compares with my mom's advice.
Whoa, this is high pressure.
Yes.
How am I
So-
going to do this? Okay, I'm just looking at it from a mama perspective. All right.
Right. So if you give the same advice as my mom or close to the same advice, you get a super mom sticker.
Okay.
If you're wrong, you get nothing and you'll like it.
Okay.
Okay. So the lesson learned here is that my mom is always right. That's ultimately the lesson. And so let's see how many
He
super
holds
mom
the highest
stickers.
standard. Okay.
Yes, so let's see how many super mom
Right.
stickers you can earn. So here we go. 5 important questions about life as asked by a teenage boy in America. Are you ready?
Oh boy. Yes. I'm
Okay.
ready.
All right, here we go. Mom, that's you. Okay. Mom, I have a big test tomorrow and I'm worried I'm going to get a bad grade. My friends told me that they cheat all the time and the teacher is clueless. I think I'm going to cheat too. Is that wrong? So what is your advice to your son?
Son, that is wrong. Yeah, just because other people are doing it does not mean that you should do it too. And you're not learning or growing when you are cheating, and it just really sets up something that you don't want to fall back on in life. Cheating is not the answer. You have to be honest and do your work. You'll get success on your own and it'll make you feel so much better. You did the work and you are successful. And yeah, please don't do that.
Okay. And end with that. Please don't do that. All right. Let's see how my mom responded. Are you
Okay.
ready? Okay,
Yes.
here we go.
Child, cheating is always wrong. Cheating is never the right way. You should not cheat. Once you cheat once, you will be known as a cheater. You will never feel good about yourselves. It's better to get a failing grade by not cheating than to get a good grade by cheating.
Very similar
Good.
answer. You get a
Wow.
Supermom sticker.
Yeah,
All right.
I liked her. I like how she just says it with
with
she's so
authority for
assertive and
sure.
like I love it. She just has the commanding kind of like, yep, do not do it. And Mark, I'm sure you were like, okay, mom.
No problem.
When you were a teenager.
That's right. All right. So here we go. So you bing, bing, you got the correct answer there. All right, here we go. Question number 2. Mom, there's someone in my math class that I really like, but I'm afraid to ask out. How do I let this person know that I like them without feeling embarrassed or rejected? So now you've got to think. What's the advice there?
Oh, okay. I would say to try and connect with this person on a level of something that you guys have interest in. You are both in the same math class. So maybe start with asking her about how's your math, how's it going in class? Or maybe even I'm struggling with this. Do you have any advice for me? I got number 5 wrong on this test. What'd you get? Just something where you can connect right away. And then the rest will just snowball. You'll kind of know, okay, do I like this person? Is this person, you'll get a sense of, is this person going to be a friend or like caring, funny, and then the rest will just follow. But just
I like that.
Connect with something that you have in common.
That's right. And start with the subject that you're studying together. That makes sense to me. All right, let's see what my mom had to say. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Child, do not go directly to the person because you might be rejected. Do it through his or her friend. Let the friend of the person you like know your feelings, and then let the friend feel out the person to see how they feel about you. And that way, it's not like an outright rejection, but it's kind of a softer way of getting accepted or rejected.
Conflicting advice. Both were good, but it did not
yeah.
match what my mom said, so you get no sticker for that, Lindsay.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
the friend avenue. I didn't even think about the friend avenue.
The friend of a friend avenue. Okay,
that
here we go.
sometimes works too, for sure.
Yeah. All right, question number 3. They're going to get tougher. Mom, here we go. Mom, in the bathroom today, I accidentally bought a kilo of hash from that creepy guy in my history class. It just happened. Now I have a kilo of hash sitting in my locker. What do I do? All right. So your son has a kilo of hash in his locker. What's your advice to him?
I would say, what are you thinking? Like, what were your thoughts going through this? Why did what were you doing? Yeah, I would have to probably just figure out what took you to this.
Right.
Action.
How did it get to this point?
How did we? Yes, this is gone. Yes, that I would have to get to the bottom of it.
That's a lot of drugs. All right, let's see what my mom had to say. Okay, here we go.
Child, first of all, everyone selling drugs is not creepy. They're very rich people. And here's a chance for us to maybe share in the wealth. You have a kilo of drugs. Let's get together before you make any rash decisions. I have some people we can talk to, and we'll discuss this as a family.
Whoa. Wow. It looks like my mom wants to be a drug runner. Lindsay, your answer did not match what my mom had to say, so no sticker for you. All right, let's move on. They're getting crazy here. Question number 4. Mom, I want to quit school. It's too hard. Besides, I'm not learning anything I'll ever use in the career I really want. Influencer. YouTube influencer. Can you unenroll me so I can pursue my dream of being the next great Instagram or TikTok influencer? And so what is your answer to that?
Oh, I'd say, son, I really want you to follow your dreams. I really do. I support you, but we need to finish high school. Did you say high school?
Yeah, sure.
We need to finish school. And do a little bit of growing, and you can do the influencer thing on the side, enjoy, but we're not, it's important to get through school, get an education, and pursue your dreams. And if that is your dream, I'm all for it. I'm totally in support.
You're
of
not
that,
in the business of crushing dreams, Lindsay.
No,
of course not.
Of course not. But I mean, yeah, but hold on. We're not dropping out of school for it.
No. Well, let's see if my mom feels the same way.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Child, you know I've been a supportive parent your whole life, but that's the most f***ed up question I have ever heard from a crazy son. No, you are not going to go into an Instagram influencer. Yes, you are going to stay in school. You are not going to drop out, and that's the final word. You hear me?
My mom means business.
Oh my God, your mom is the best. This
Yeah,
is
so you earned a sticker there. And then finally, here we go.
okay.
Mom, remember how you told me once that if I accidentally swallow gum, it won't stay in my stomach for 7 years? That's just a story adults tell you? Well, what happens if you accidentally swallow 4D batteries? I'm asking for a friend. Okay, so what are you going to tell your son who just
son.
swallowed 4D batteries?
We're going straight to the emergency room. That's it. I mean,
That's it.
This is,
End of
that's
story.
That's
All right,
it.
let's see how my mom responded.
Child, that is about the dumbest thing I've ever heard you do. But let me tell you, if that indeed happens, you better stay very, very close to a toilet, and you are going to have some electrifying bowel movements.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that does still require a trip to the ER. Well, you were both very fast on your feet. I think, Lindsay, you've earned 3 Supermom stickers. You've done a great job. And thank you for coming on Podfulness. I hope this was fun for you.
Oh, so fun. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I love it. And I love your mom. Say hi to your whole family for me. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been the best.
You bet. Thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
As soon as Lindsay and I finished the podcast recording, she texted me. She had one of those moments that we all have when you realize you wish you would have said something at the time and the words just didn't come to you. I asked her to describe "we can do hard things" in just a few sentences. And this is what she really wished she would have said. And I quote her here. As a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, working full-time, a business owner, a person who has been divorced, navigating the challenge of co-parenting with my ex, a breast cancer survivor, remarried with a blended family, and living in a world where there's a lot of trauma and hurt, it helps to talk through these hard things and knowing we will be okay. Those kinds of hard things that everyone can relate to. That is the root of "we can do hard things." I do love hearing about new podcasts and how they impact people's lives. So thank you, Lindsay, for sharing your story with us. And thanks to all of you for listening and giving up some of your day. It's much appreciated. Enjoy what you have left of your day, and I will catch you next time for another episode of
Podfulness.